Hi everyone, so as some of you may know, this is my favourite time of year for a few reasons. One, I love autumn, I love everything about the colours, I love being outside, I love the leaves falling off the trees, everything about autumn I love. I love the fact that it's starting to get a little bit colder, so we'll get a little bit cosier, spend more times indoors, even more so than we probably have been at the moment. I also love the music as well. I love the trick-or-treating, I love how much the kids love it, I love how much the big kids like me love it, and I of course love Halloween. So it is that stepping stone through to Christmas, and I think it's a stepping stone that should not be avoided. So I love Halloween, which is why I have decided that the workout today is Halloween themed. Okay, so this is going to be slightly different to our kind of follow along pre-recorded videos, in that I'm not going to be here to do it with you. However, this is more of a tutorial, shall we say. Okay, so the reason for that is that you are going to do it at your own pace. Okay, so there are a few different variations of the exercises that we're going to do, of course all Halloween related, and with some funny names. So what I want you to do is, just for yourselves, before we get started, before I tell you what it is that we are going to do, what I want you to do is make sure that you've done a warm-up. Now, I have created a warm-up for legs. It's kind of mainly for when you come to do stretches, but actually it's totally fine, and it's something that I do kind of before cardio exercises as well. So if you want to, it should be kind of floating around somewhere. Go ahead and click that. Of course, if you want to do your own warm-up, then please by all means do. Put on your favourite Halloween track. Make sure that it's somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes, and make sure we're kind of mobilising the whole of the body and making sure that the heart rate is kind of lifting ever so slightly. So if you need to, pause this video, go and do your warm-up. If you have kind of already done your warm-up and you've come back, then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the exercises and what we are going to do. So, some people who have done my face-to-face classes, again, after this kind of, after the lockdown period, or kind of whilst we're still during it, some of us will know what this little contraption is. So some of you may have seen this before anyway, and this is a little decision dice. So this is a workout decision dice, so essentially it's got a whole host of different exercises on there. And basically, it's for the people like me who sometimes are just a little bit, we want to spice things up a little bit, we want to spice up our workout just a little bit. So what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to roll this 10 times, jot down the exercises on a piece of paper, and that will be our workout for today. So because of it being Halloween, we are going to do 13 repetitions. Now, if it lands on something, I don't know, let's say high knees, you are going to do that amount of repetitions per side. Okay, obviously if it's things like squats or push-ups, you're using both sides of the body, we're going to just do 13 of them. Okay, so 13 reps. Again, that's your maximum. If you're new to fitness, maybe you want to start looking at kind of somewhere between 8. You can start there, but we really want to push for the 13. Okay, so it doesn't matter how long it takes you, okay, which is why this is not a kind of normal follow along pre-recorded video, because I want you to really kind of push yourself and not worry about kind of keeping up with the pace that I do or what somebody else is doing. Okay, so I'm going to roll this 10 times, I'll write down the exercises, and see what happens. Okay, so I rolled this 10 times, and these are the exercises that we got out of it. Okay, so if you want to, you can, I'll read these nice and slowly, you can write these down, grab yourself a pen and a piece of paper if you want to. Okay, so we have haunted high knees. Okay, so high knees. There's a low impact variation of that, which basically looks like a high knee kind of march variation, and a slightly higher impact version. Okay, we then have lunges. Okay, and again remember, per side, 13 per side. The kind version is again doing 13 on one side and changing. You can also alternate each side, make it a little bit kinder, making sure we're switching between both sides, or you can do your jumping lunges for those high impact variations. We've got crunches, So this one is actually going to be our crisscross crunches, and again there will be a standing variation to this, and there will also be a kind of lying down supine variation. We've got high knees again, so again that is our fourth exercise. We then have squats, which you can absolutely do just body weight. You can also add a little heel raise or a calf raise, and you can also add on a jump as well. Okay, so that's our squats. Halfway, we then have our push-ups, and again I will show you two variations down on the ground, one in a slightly tighter box position, one with obviously kind of lengthened legs. You can do your push-ups if for whatever reason you feel like it's more comfortable for you. You can do your push-ups against the wall, okay, or again on anything that might be kind of load bearing. Okay, we've got our crisscross crunches again after those push-ups. After that, we do have a plank or a wall sit. Okay, I'm going to say wall sit is the variation there. We then have high knees again, one more time, and then tricep dips. So there are three variations to that. We've got down on the floor for two, and up with two chairs in between both of them for the third one. Okay, so I'll run through those exercises one more time. High knees, lunges, crisscross crunches, high knees again, squats takes you halfway. We've then got push-ups, crunches, 30-second plank, or again we've got a wall sit, and then we've got high knees and tricep dips. Okay, so what I'm going to do, again, make sure that the warm-up has been done. If you need to, what I have created is just a small picture for you. Please pause this video if you need to take a screenshot of this, if you're doing this elsewhere and you need a screenshot of the workout. Please do so now. It should be up for you kind of right about now. And once you've got that, we are good to go. So make sure that your space is safe, make sure that you are warm, make sure you have a drink close by, and again, take it at your own pace. Do have fun with it. Put on your favourite Halloween music as well, and let me know what your favourite track is and which one got you motivated the most, and let's get ready to go. Alright, okay, so my music is on, space is safe, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with our high knees, okay? So again, just to reiterate, this is not a follow along, this is a tutorial on how to do those exercises, so make sure you're paying attention to the variation that you want to do. Okay, that first variation is our high knees. We want to keep that nice and low impact if we want to for that first variation. The spine stays nice and tall, glutes are engaged, abs are engaged. Obviously that second variation, we've got those knees nice and high, nice and quick. Okay, so first variation is much easier to count, 13 on each side. Obviously with that higher impact variation, it's going to be done a lot faster. Okay, second exercise was our lunges. Okay, so again, please feel free, step one leg back. Option number one is both legs bend. If we can, for balance, reach those arms up. Yeah, so 13 on one side, we change, 13 on the other. If you can, please alternate legs, keep those abs engaged. If we can, we've got a nice jump and lunges. Okay, remember, 13 per side. Okay, our third exercise is our crisscross crunches, our standing variation. We take those hands either across the shoulders or across the chest, towards the shoulders and behind the head. If we can, we're going to take a small twist, squeeze, breathe out as we lift. Yeah. Of course, if we're down on the floor, we've got two different options here as well. Our first option, something that we might have seen before, hands behind the head if we can, curl your upper body up, squeeze elbow towards the knee, keep your abdominals pulling down, breathe out every time you lift up. If you're if you know this exercise, I was going to say new to the exercise, but it's totally the opposite way around. If we can, we're going to squeeze, lengthen and change. So we've got that full variation of crisscross, something we might see in a Pilates class, for example. So we've got those three variations: standing, down on the mat, nice and slow. And our third option is extending that leg just with a little bit more speed behind it. Okay, so that is our crunches, or crisscross crunches. We have our high knees again. Now you do your high knees 3 times. I want you to see if you can just increase the intensity ever so slightly, as long as there are no issues with the exercise. Okay, obviously if high impact is something you don't want to do for whatever reason, don't do it. Okay, make sure that you're comfortable, but see if we can push ourselves just a little bit. Okay, so again, our second variation of those high knees, exactly the same, or again, if we can, nice and high impact with those high knees. All right, squats, 3 different variations. Body weight, again, body weight with a little heel raise or a calf raise, and then body weight with a small jump. If we can take those feet, you're going to take them either hip distance apart or slightly wider with those toes turned out. Okay? First option, we just squat down and bring it up. You do whatever you want with the arms, okay, whatever makes sense. Sit down in the chair behind you, make sure the weight is in the heels, and then bring yourself up. Second variation, down and lift. And lift. Yeah, so again, arms, do whatever you need to do. Make sure that the ankles are supported and they're not rolling up. Option number 3, sit down, jump up. Yeah, down and up, bend the legs as you land. 13 in total. Our next exercise, push-ups. So I did mention that you can do these standing. If you're going to do them standing, just make sure those hands are directly in line with the shoulders, elbows are going back, not out to the side. And that also is the same for when we're down on the floor. Okay, so the only thing that changes is where your legs are. So if we can, we're going to just take our legs from that box position. We're going to lengthen the legs back ever so slightly. If we can, the position that we tend to find ourselves in a bar class, for example, is squeezing the hips. If that's too much for your lower back, stay there. Take your hips with you as you bend the elbows down and bring it up. And of course, as always, lengthen those legs to straight, keep the abdominals engaged, and press up in that full variation. Okay, 13. Take your time. If you need to rest, shake off the wrists, please do. It's the only set of push-ups we do. Okay, so crunches. Again, those 3 variations. Spine twist, nice and tall. Notice my standing leg is staying straight. Again, down onto the floor. Arms behind the head again. Squeeze to lift. Squeeze to lift. Hips are staying down, even when we come into that crisscross with a slightly kind of quicker speed behind it. Plank or wall sit. Now you do need to time this. It's 30 seconds, okay? So if we can, wall sit. So again, it's just a slight different variation. Make sure that those knees are in line with the hips. If we can, make sure that they're in a lovely long line from hip down to knee, down towards the feet. And we chill, we hold, okay? If we can, we are going to go for that plank though. And again, we're going to come down onto the hands. If we can, knees down, hold it there. If your wrists are kind of giving you a little bit of a problem, bring your elbows down, but once your elbows are down, you do need to also squeeze the glutes to bring yourself down with it as well. We don't want to leave the hips up there. If we can, however, we're going to tuck the toes, lengthen the heels out, squeeze the bum muscles, lengthen the crown of the head, and again, that can be done either on an elbow position or it can be done in that full variation. Okay, and again, 30 seconds. Okay, I know it doesn't sound like a lot. I feel like 30 seconds in plank lasts a lifetime. Okay, all right, our final 2 exercises. High knees, we know it well. We've done it twice already. Again, we can either be here or can be nice and high impact. Final exercise. This one is probably the most trickiest to decide which variation you want to do, and it's possibly the slightly, I'm going to say it's the most complicated of the exercises we've got because of the wrist placement. So, first variation, hands flat. Now you can't really see somewhere to jump there because it is freezing, but what I want you to do is sit the hips back and really pull your abdominals under, like you're scooping and sucking your belly button all the way in towards the back of the body. I know, horrible visual, but it works. Okay, so we're really tucking the pelvis under, setting those hands flat. If we can, keep the pelvis where it is, lower down until the lower back touches down onto the mat, and then extend up and over. Yeah, so again, down and up. Really squeeze the triceps at the top. If we can, and if we're comfortable with that variation, what I want you to do is set the feet flat, again in line, just like we were for that wall sit. Squeeze to lift the hips. If we need to, walk those feet in. Keep the pelvis tucked. We want to not think about lowering the pelvis. We want to think about bending the arms. Yeah? And again, this can be done with straight legs, down and up. Okay, now the variation with the chairs. So if you want to do a variation with the chairs, what you're going to do is set your chairs either side of you. Make sure you've got enough space to put your hips through the middle. And again, make sure your surface is nice and slip-free, because I know what I'm like, okay? Set those hands down, set those hips forward, legs bent or legs straight, and we dip down. It's a little bit more intense on the shoulder, okay, so just take it easy. Again, I'd probably say that's the most complicated exercise of the whole workout, but I know some of us do tricep dips for fun. So that is your tricep dip variation, those three. Again, hips down, hips lifted, we're down on the chair. Okay, let's run through those just one more time. We've got horned high knees, or high knees. You'll just wait for the Halloween names. Lunges, crunches, high knees again, squats. Push-ups, crunches, plank or wall sit, high knees, tricep dips. Okay, so I am wishing you the very best of luck. Make sure again, you've done your warm-up. If you feel like you do one cycle of this, which means from 1 to 10, and if you feel like you could do it again, do it again. Okay, so you've got either one round of those exercises, see how fast we can do it in, or you can do 2 rounds and see how fast you do it in, okay? Again, let me know the time in which you do it, let me know which exercise was your favourite, and also let me know what your favourite Halloween track was that really got you motivated and psyched through this workout. Okay, and last but not least, have a happy Halloween. See you later.